Mage here, and I made a bridge, drawbridge, as much as you can in Minecraft. This is in my survival world, so it is survival friendly enough that I made it here. There's a huge 10 block gap with absolutely nothing connecting either side of this. So this is a flying machine type of bridge, and it has a wireless connection between each side. Also, it has a player detector system for extending the bridge. So you just walk up here, screams at you. Now there's a bridge. There it is. Triggering it again on the other side makes it retract. There is a bit of a gap you can see into there. Put some blocks in there. Those are crying obsidian because it's a place where the slime block would touch. But yeah, I think this looks pretty good. And I always wanted an actual drawbridge in Minecraft. All right, let's go take a look at how I made this. All right, here is the whole thing in my little redstone world here. Now, the actual flying machine part of this, I didn't design this. The basic of this flying machine, I don't know who came up with the design originally because it shows up in a million videos on YouTube. This is pretty self-explanatory. You have observers with the butt of the observer facing into a piston, and that mirrored down over here. And each cell of it has slime blocks on one side, honey blocks on the other. And then however many cells wide you make it. I made it 3 wide. It can be wider. It can be narrower. But they do have to be alternating slime block and honey block. Now, every version of this I found online, it said that it extended 5 blocks, or it said it with both double-sided version was 10 blocks, except every version of that started behind this solid block here. So yes, the bridge did move 5 blocks, but the actual empty space in between each side, yeah, that was only 4 blocks out. 8 blocks total, the double-sided version. Also, the versions I saw had redstone just like running right across here, which just is cool if you have the appropriate terrain and you don't have a big gap, but I wanted a big gap. You saw where I had it in that survival world. It's way up high. And it's much more impressive if there's clearly no connection between the two sides. The only change I made to the flying machine was rearranging the blocks. This is the basic version, just have the blocks right on top of it. This one, you rearrange them slightly so as to not go over the push limit. Move your decorative blocks with one out in front of it. And this also means you do not have to have the double-sided version be opposite with the slime blocks and honey blocks. Because when the double-sided version extends, it runs into the other bridge, and that's what makes it stop. Well, this has a non-sticky block on the front. Also, as a bonus, when you're looking at this bridge while it's retracted, you aren't looking directly at the honey blocks and slime blocks. Now, from the side or the bottom, once extended, you can still see them. There's no real way around that, but like they're pretty well covered up, right? Yeah, no problem. So, a few elements of the circuit. So, borrowed from the original design with some minor tweaks. There's also multiple different versions of it. Some have like trapdoors up here. Doesn't matter. You need something that has a change in power level that these guys can see. So the circuit for activating the bridge comes in here from whatever other circuitry you use. Bit of redstone dust, a repeater, going to a block with a torch on it. These have to be an immovable block. Has to be a solid block that can conduct power for this. I use obsidian. You can use other stuff. Just a line of redstone here. The torch goes off. That triggers these observers, starts the bridge moving. The same signal also retracts the bridge. This line of redstone dust triggers this observer. Down here, see that the block the observers point into is a solid block. These blocks are not solid. With the overall design, the activation system, it's actually important they be not solid up here, at least on the one side that has the bell underneath it. I make them not solid on both sides. That makes it just easier to build and remember. Technically, this one could be a solid block. So this observer powers a solid block, powers this line of redstone dust. Since power the receivers strongly power these obsidian blocks. When the bridge is all the way forward, like so, the piston is stopped on top of this block. Now, you're powering both ends of it every time you activate it, but it doesn't matter because the bridge is only in one spot. If there was another bridge back here, you'd be activating it, but there's only one bridge. So when you power this again, this gets powered, sends the piston, starts the flying machine going backwards. This is all basically what the standard version was. So the stuff that I did was the activation circuit. Wireless redstone. So you look in here. That's why there's a block there, because I waterlogged it so you can't hear this guy. But, yeah. Calibrated skulk sensor. That is sending a signal. Or that is, the skulk sensor here is receiving signal from the other side. When you activate one side, it rings this bell, which skulk sensor will hear. You do need these two bits of wool here so that when you activate this side, you don't hear your own. This one doesn't hear the bell that's right next to it. This has a maximum of a 16 block range with the calibrated skulk sensors, this is right at that 16 block range. And also kind of move slow, take a few pause shots here so you can see how I have everything set up. All of the details matter. Skulk sensor, calibrated one. I have a book on page 11. Page 11, it listens specifically for bells. In the wiki, it says, and things like bells. I don't know if there's any other blocks that produce that same signal. This is the only thing I could find that you could activate with redstone and nothing else in the world triggers it. If anyone knows of any other things that you can trigger with redstone to signal the signal and also won't get triggered by anything else you do, that'd be cool. But the bell works. I guess the only downside is, yes, you do hear the bell. When you activate this, there's a decent bit of time for this signal to travel. Like when a skulk sensor is listening, it travels at 1 block per tick or 2 blocks per redstone tick, 16 blocks. So you need to have these things be synced up. Because what's stopping the bridge from moving is running the other bridge. They have to start at the same time. So when you trigger this, there's a delay on one side and not a delay on the other. So this is your input block. Instantly triggers the bell. And you need to have 8 redstone tick delay before you start this side moving. That's what these repeaters are for. These are all set to 3 ticks. For some reason, when it wasn't 3 repeaters doing it, it didn't work right. Like having 4 and then 2 2-tick repeaters, for some reason, seem to have a different effect than 3 3-tick repeaters. I'm not sure why. So that's 9 ticks. You need 8 ticks, but that's because there is a tick of delay coming off the skulk sensor on each side. And that's this repeater down here. It's because you need enough power, and because of the shape of the wiring. So that's 8 ticks for the sound travel, plus 1 extra tick for after it has arrived at the sensor because of this repeater. So when you're triggering it from this side, signal goes through there, strongly powers that block, and then jumps up these slabs. These are not interacting with this, just kind of routing around it. And that powers the normal circuit for extending and retracting this bridge. If the sensor retrieves a signal, sensor is sitting on top of this block. It powers this block when it gets a signal, powers that red bit of redstone dust. This repeater then strongly powers this block and sends the signal in the same as if you'd push the button. And this is all mirrored over here. Important, it is not the same on both sides, it is mirrored. So over here, there's the bell. On this side, yeah, the bell is lined up with the bell on that side. That is important because you need to have these distances be correct for the timings. And that's it. If you want to just do this, please note all these repeater timings do need to be where they're set. This is 1 tick. These are 1 tick. This is 9 ticks. See, it needs to be 9 ticks. This one's actually working like this. I swear, on one of the other ones, I fiddle with it. You may need to fiddle with your timing to get it exactly right. Mine's working on 9 ticks. And this one is, of course, just 1 tick. Now, if you're building this, I added this activation circuit. Now, you can just put in power down at the back of this, any block touching the back of this redstone dust, and it's fine. You can power it, activate it any you want. You can just have a button. It works. You know, add the button on this side just for testing it. Boom. It goes. It comes back. No problem. But I want to do something else, which is not a critical part of this bridge, but it's a cool thing. Shriekers only get activated by skulk sensors if it is a player. Mobs do not activate the shriekers. So there's a waterlogged skulk sensor. Just walking across this or doing literally anything up there, if it's a player doing it, will trigger the shrieker. Observer sees that the shrieker is triggered, powers this block, powers this dust. This is a classic pulse extender. 14 items in here. Sticky piston on this side, non-sticky piston on this side, redstone block, comparators, dust on top. Basically, classic etho hopper clock, except it's not sticky on both sides. When you trigger this, it goes there. It turns this on for long enough for the items to move twice. 14 is good delay. Prevents someone from spamming this. And also prevents you, from the bridge from closing too soon. Someone spams it, nothing happens. It can't start too early. That goes into a observer monostable circuit, which is pulse comes into the piston, observer pops down, sends a signal into the system. No problem. This is something I thought was a clever way to activate it. But, like I said, it doesn't have to be this. There it is. As you can see, I don't have all the decorative blocks on top of this one just so you can see the whole structure here. It can be any blocks. This upside down stair, slab, blocks makes for a slight decline. One downside for this design is, well, when you're walking over this bit, you slow down because the slime blocks affect you there. You slow down for 2 blocks. I don't care. Of note, in this design here, the blocks that are crying obsidian, these all need to be immovable blocks, or they could be glazed terracotta, but who uses glazed terracotta? These ones also need to be immovable blocks. These blocks don't need to be here at all, but if you want to block the view into the redstone, the blocks you place here to block the view have to be immovable blocks. All the various glass bits you see around, these are all decorative blocks. Kind of shows where it's okay to have decorative blocks. And it can be here because slime blocks don't go this far out. Once you take a step back here, these ones all have to be 1 block farther out, right here. Or immovable, one or the other. All right, that is my drawbridge. Really, drawbridge is only semi-me. Control circuitry, that's me. I spent way too long figuring out this bit of wireless redstone. It is a little finicky. But if you put things here on these measurements, you want a screenshot of where everything is here, boom, right there. Good look at this side. Note that repeater down there. And note you have a full 10 blocks between the farthest sticking out block on this side and the farthest sticking out block on this side. All right. Hopefully other people try this or come up with more refinements. Later.